Hi and welcome to my channel. This is a very simple way of making a pot holder or pot coaster. You can use your fussy cut fabric to make this. This is what it looks like on the front, and then turning it over, that's what it looks like on the back. First you get a bit of backing fabric that is 8 inches square. Then you get your front piece of fabric, which is also 8 inches square. The same size. Then you have 4 5-inch squares, which will be the fabric you have on the front side of the pot holder. Then you need a 5-inch by 1.5 inch fabric, which will make the little loop for the pot holder. Now turn over your back fabric to the wrong side. Now get your batting. I'm using Insul Bright, which is the insulated batting. That's going to be 7.5 inches in size. Now put your front piece of material on top of your batting. We get a ruler and rule 4 inches across the bottom of your fabric, using a pen to mark it. Then 4 inches at the top of your fabric, do a mark, 4 inches on the left side of your fabric, and 4 inches on your right side of your fabric. Now pin this all together, being careful not to pin where you've got the marks. So now you're going to sew from the top down, from left to right, using those marks. Or you can sew from the top down and from the centre out to the left and to the right. Here you can see where I've sewn it from the top down and from the left to the right. Now you can take off all those clips that were holding it. Now we're going to turn it over. Now with the 5-inch squares, we're going to fold them all into a point. And then you've got to iron those flat. Taking the 1.5 inch by 5 inch piece of fabric, fold it in half, iron down there, then you fold it in again to the centre line, fold it the top down into the centre line, then iron that flat. And these are the ones that I've ironed down flat. Now taking this again, we're going to fold it in half and we're going to sew down just on that edge. Here you can see the 1/8 of an inch line that I sewed on the edge. Now before we put these on, we have to turn this over. We're going to turn this bit of fabric into a loop. which we're going to pin to the top. We're taking the first triangle, we pin it to the bottom right hand side, like so. Then we take the next triangle and we pin that to the bottom left hand side, like so. Notice this part down here, we need to fold that with the right going over the left, because that'll make it easier to sew down with this sewing machine. It won't get caught in here. Going to put this triangle into the top left hand corner. Making sure that the bottom triangle goes over the top of the top one. Then we grab the last one and pin that into place as well. Making sure again that the left hand fabric goes over the top of the right hand fabric. Now you're going to go to your sewing machine and you're going to sew 1/4 inch around the outside. Go back and forth there and go right around to the start. So here you can see I've sewn 1/4 inch around the edges. I'm going to chop off this part here. Now we're going to chop off the corners. Just getting your scissors and snipping off that end. Try not to cut into your sewing lines, but snip it off as close as you can to the points. And use a pointed turner. We're going to get the pointed turner in a minute. We're going to turn these out first. Pressing it out with your fingers. Getting your pointed turner, just press out the corners very gently. Also use the pointed turner to press along these seam lines as well. And this is how it looks like now. Okay, so what we have to do now is to iron this flat, and then we're going to sew a 1/8 of an inch along these edges. On this edge, that edge, and that edge. Now you can see we've sewn 1/8 of an inch along the edge. You have to do 1/8 of an inch on this edge, that one, this one, and this one, all 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and when you're sewing, you need to make sure you sew just to the edge there. Don't go under, just sew up to there, and then going down here, you sew just up to there. So you can see here where I've sewn one part of it only. I've sewn it up here and just down to there, not catching the edge, but just up to the edge. And then I'm going to sew from here down to there. And this is what the completed pot holder or coaster looks like. You can see where I've sewn on the edges. And this is the back of the coaster, and it's all finished.